It was a bright and breezy afternoon, and Alice was walking through a beautiful field of wildflowers. The air smelled sweet, and the sun warmed her face as she hummed a happy tune. Suddenly, something shiny on the ground caught her eye. Curious, Alice bent down and picked up a small golden key. It sparkled in the sunlight, and she couldn't help but wonder where it came from. As she held the key in her hand, she heard a soft, mysterious voice whisper, "You've been chosen." Startled, Alice looked around but saw no one. Before she could think, the ground beneath her began to glow. The next thing she knew, she was no longer in the field. She was in a magical world, with floating castles, trees that shimmered with light, and words dancing in the air like colorful butterflies. "Welcome to the kingdom of words," the same voice said, this time louder. Turning around, Alice saw a kind-looking old man wearing a long robe. "I am the Word Keeper," he introduced himself. "Our kingdom is in great danger. Lord Mute has stolen important words, and without them, no one can communicate." Alice stared at him, unsure of what to say. "But why me?" she finally asked. "Because," the Word Keeper explained, "you have the key, the only thing that can unlock the stolen words and restore our kingdom. But to succeed, you must learn and use these words yourself." Alice nodded, her heart pounding. She didn't know much English, but she felt ready for the challenge. After all, she had the key and a mission. "Your journey begins in the Forest of Greetings," the Word Keeper said. "Go, and may the words guide you." Alice stepped into the Forest of Greetings, feeling both nervous and excited. Tall, sparkling trees lined the path, their leaves shimmering with golden light. Every so often, Alice noticed words floating in the air. "Hello." They seemed to whisper softly as they drifted past her. "Wow," she said, marveling at the sight. But her amazement was cut short when a large tree suddenly stretched out its branches, blocking her path. "To pass through this forest," the tree boomed in a deep voice, "you must say the magic words." Alice hesitated. "Magic words?" she repeated, unsure of what to do. The tree nodded. "Yes, the words we use to greet others." Alice racked her brain. What were the magic words? Then she remembered the floating words she'd seen earlier. The tree rustled its leaves in approval. "Good, but you'll need to say more." Hi?" Alice tried, her voice trembling slightly. "Better," the tree replied. "Now, ask how I am." Alice thought hard. She had seen those words too. "How are you?" she asked, her voice growing more confident. The tree smiled, or at least it seemed to, as its branches relaxed and made way for her to pass. "Very good. You may go. But remember, greetings are the first step to connection. Use them wisely." Alice walked on, repeating the words under her breath. "Hello. Hi. How are you?" She didn't want to forget them. Further into the forest, smaller trees and bushes began to whisper softly. "Hello. Hi." Alice greeted them in return, smiling as they seemed to glow brighter with each word. As she approached the forest's edge, she spotted a small wooden sign that read, "Congratulations. You've learned the magic of greeting." Alice smiled to herself. The words felt natural now, and she realized how powerful such simple phrases could be. But she didn't have time to rest. Ahead of her, she saw a sparkling bridge with a small figure. As Alice approached the shimmering bridge, she saw a small green frog sitting right in the middle of it. The frog wore a tiny golden crown, and its eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Halt!" the frog croaked as Alice stepped closer. "This is the Bridge of Help. To cross it, you must answer my question in English." Alice sighed. "Another test." "Okay," she said nervously. The frog grinned and asked, "Can you help me?" Alice blinked. The question caught her off guard. It was so simple, yet she wasn't sure what to say. Yes I can," she replied with a hopeful smile. The frog clapped its tiny hands. "Excellent. But wait, tea here is more." Alice groaned softly. "More?" "Yes," the frog said. "If I say, 'Thank you,' what do you say back?" Alice hesitated for a moment, but quickly recalled the polite responses her mother had taught her. "You are welcome." The frog hopped excitedly. "Very good. You are learning fast." The bridge began to glow, and the path ahead cleared. But before Alice could take a step, the frog spoke. "One more thing," it said. To keep the magic of this bridge alive, you must practice these words. Alice nodded. Okay, I'll try. Repeat after me, the frog instructed. Can you help? Alice repeated. Can you help me? Good, the frog said. Now say, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Alice echoed. Finally, thank you. And, you are well. Alice repeated both phrases, her confidence growing with each. Well done, the frog declared. Remember, offering help and showing gratitude are just as magical as any spell. You may now cross the bridge. Alice walked carefully across the glowing bridge, repeating the phrases under her breath. Can you help me? Yes, I can. Thank you. You are welcome. She felt proud of herself for learning so much. On the other side, a grand castle loomed in the distance. Alice knew this must be the castle of lost words. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, ready for the next challenge. Alice stood before the grand castle of lost words, its towering walls shimmering like glass under a golden sky. She tightened her grip on the golden key in her hand, determined to complete her mission. The massive doors of the castle creaked open as she approached, revealing a large hall filled with glowing floating words trapped inside crystal ore. At the center of the hall stood a pedestal with an inscription. To free the words, complete the sentence. Alice stepped closer, and the first orb floated down, glowing softly. Inside it, she could see the phrase, "Hello, my name." The inscription on the pedestal lit up, instructing her, "Say your name to complete the phrase." Alice cleared her throat nervously. "Hello, my name is Alice." The orb cracked open, releasing the words, which swirled around her joyfully before disappearing into the great start. A voice echoed through the hall. Alice looked up to see the word keeper, appearing in a shimmer of light. Another orb floated down, this one containing the phrase, "Can I have?" Alice hesitated. "Can I have what?" "Anything you need," the word keeper replied. "The important thing is to use the phrase." Alice thought for a moment and said, "Can I have a glass of water?" The orb shattered, releasing its words, just like the first. The word keeper smiled approvingly. "Well done. Now, for the final challenge. You must use words to show respect and kindness." 3 orbs descended, each with a single word inside. "Please, thank you. And you are welcome." Alice studied the orbs. The pedestal glowed with a new inscription. Use these words in a complete sentence to unlock the final door. Alice thought carefully, then said, "Can I have the key to the next room, please?" The first orb opened. She continued, "Thank you for helping." The second orb shattered. Finally, she added with a smile, "You are welcome to guide me anytime." The third orb burst into light, and the massive doors at the end of the hall opened with a soft, "You've done it," the word keeper said, clapping his hands. "The lost words are returning to the kingdom because of you." Alice turned to see a shadowy figure appear in the doorway, the unmistakable silhouette of Lord Mute. The final test awaited. Taking a deep breath, Alice stepped forward, her confidence stronger than ever. She repeated the phrases she had learned under her breath. "You are welcome." She knew she was ready to face whatever came next. Alice entered the final chamber of the castle, where the air felt heavier, charged with tension. Lord Mute stood at the center, his piercing gaze fixed on her, and around him, dark orbs swirled, each containing stolen words trapped inside. "So," Lord Mute sneered, his voice deep and menacing, "you think you can defeat me with mere words?" Alice gripped the golden key tightly. "I don't just think I know," she replied, surprising herself with her newfound confidence. Lord Mute raised a hand, and an orb floated toward Alice. Inside, she could see a faint, incomplete sentence. "You want to free the words?" Lord Mute growled. "Prove yourself. Finish the sentence." Alice hesitated, unsure of how to complete it. But then she remembered the word keeper's advice. Be polite, and ask for help when needed. She took a deep breath and said, "I don't understand. Can you help me?" The orb shattered, and the released words floated toward Alice, lighting up the room. Lord Mute growled in frustration. "You got lucky," he hissed, sending 2 more orbs her way. One read, "Excuse me," and the other, "Could you repeat that?" Alice paused, thinking carefully. She spoke clearly and confidently. "Excuse me, can you tell me what this means? Could you repeat that, please?" Both orbs cracked open, their words escaping and swirling around Alice. She noticed something incredible. Each word she freed seemed to make her stronger, while Lord Mute appeared to weaken. "You are clever," Lord Mute admitted, his voice shaking. But let's see how you handle this. He hurled 3 orbs at once. Each one contained a word she had recently learned. Please. Thank you. And sorry. Alice smiled. She knew these words well. Can you help me, please? She began. The first orb shattered. Thank you for your patience, she added. The second orb broke apart. Finally, she said, I am sorry if I've caused any trouble, but I need to free these words. The third orb exploded into light, and the room grew brighter still. Lord Mute staggered back, visibly weaker now. This isn't over, he shouted, summoning a massive black orb. Inside it, Alice saw a complete sentence. Words are. The inscription on the orb glowed faintly, daring her to finish the thought. Alice didn't hesitate. She spoke from her heart. Words are powerful. They connect us and make us stronger. The black orb shattered into 1,000 pieces, and with it, Lord Mute let out a final roar before vanishing into thin air. The castle trembled, and Alice looked around as all the stolen words were released. They swirled together, filling the air with light and sound. She had done it, the words were free, and the kingdom of words was saved. As the word keeper appeared by her side, he smiled warmly. You've proven that words, no matter how simple, can defeat even the darkest silence. Well done, Alice. Alice felt a wave of pride and relief wash over her. She had not only saved the kingdom, but had also learned the true power of words along the way. As the last of the words floated free, the castle transformed before Alice's eyes. The once dark and shadowy walls now shimmered with vibrant colors, each one representing a word she had helped release. The air was filled with whispers of gratitude from the words themselves. Thank you, Alice. You've saved us. The word keeper led her back to the grand hall, where the citizens of the Kingdom of Words had gathered to celebrate. They cheered as she entered, waving banners adorned with phrases like, Welcome back, and words, Unite us. Alice felt a little shy, but also deeply happy. She had never imagined that she, an ordinary girl, could accomplish something so extraordinary. The word keeper raised his hand, silencing the joyful crowd. Today, we honor Alice, the bravest learner who has reminded us all of the magic of words. The crowd erupted into applause. A small child stepped forward, holding a golden book. This is for you, the child said, handing the book to Alice. Alice opened it and gasped. Inside, she saw every word and phrase she had learned during her journey. Hello, hi, how are you? Can you help me? Please, thank you. You are welcome. Each word was written in beautiful, glowing letters. This book will remind you of everything you've learned here, the word keeper explained. And it will continue to grow as you learn more. Alice's heart swelled with pride. Thank you, she said, clutching the book to her chest. The word keeper nodded approvingly. Before you leave, there is one last lesson. Words are not just tools, they are bridges. They connect people, ideas, and hearts. Never forget their power. Alice promised she wouldn't. As the celebration continued, Alice noticed the golden key glowing faintly in her hand. The word keeper saw it too, and smiled. It's time for you to return home, he said. Will I ever come back? Alice asked, feeling a pang of sadness. The word keeper chuckled. Every time you use what you've learned, you'll carry a piece of the kingdom of words with you. Alice nodded, comforted by his words. She waved goodbye to the cheering crowd, and stepped through a glowing portal that appeared before her. In an instant, she was back in the field of wildflowers, where her journey had begun. The golden key disappeared, and the magical book remained in her hand. Alice looked around, feeling the sunlight on her face again. But this time, something was different. She felt stronger, braver, and ready to use her new skill. Turning toward home, she whispered to herself, Hello, can I help you, please? Thank you. You are welcome. The words felt natural now, like old friends she would carry with her wherever she went. Alice smiled. This was just as the last of the words floated free. The castle transformed before Alice's eyes. The dark and shadowy walls that had once seemed like a prison now gleamed with vibrant colors, each hue reflecting the power of a word she had. The air itself hummed with energy as phrases floated around her, sparkling in the sunlight. Alice could hear soft whispers from the words themselves. Thank you, Alice. You've saved her. The castle's transformation felt like the very essence of life, returning to a long-forgotten place. The word keeper, standing proudly beside her, placed a hand on Alice's shoulder. You've done more than restore these words, you've restored the spirit of communication itself. His voice was warm, filled with and now, Alice, you will return home with a gift tone that will remind you of this journey and of your newfound power. Before Alice could respond, the doors to the grand hall swung open, and a great procession of citizens from the kingdom of words entered. They were all glowing, their figures shimmering, like the words they cherished. People, if one could call them people, appeared in all shapes and sizes, from towering figures made of letters to smaller, delicate forms, made entirely of punctuation. They were all there to celebrate Alice's success, and the room buzzed with excitement. The citizens cheered, waving banners adorned with meaningful phrases. Welcome back. Words unite us. Thank you for everything. Alice felt a flush of warmth rise in her cheeks. She had never expected such a grand reception. She had only wanted to help, but the kingdom of words seemed to view her as their. The word keeper stepped forward, raising his hands to silence the crowd. As he did, a hush fell over the. Today, we gather to honor the bravery and wisdom of one who has not only restored our words, but has also reminded us of their power. Alice, you have shown us that the simplest words can carry the deepest. You have helped free us from the darkness, and we will forever be great. A cheer erupted from the crowd, louder this time. Alice blinked in surprise, but felt a smile tug at her lips. She wasn't used to this kind of attention. She had always been a quiet, thoughtful girl, never expecting to be celebrated for learning and using simple words. But now, she realized just how important those words truly. The word keeper nodded toward a small child who stepped forward, holding a golden book. The child's eyes shone with admiration as they presented the book to. This is for you, the child said, their voice filled with. Alice took the book carefully. She opened the cover, and her breath caught in her. Inside, the pages were filled with every word and phrase she had learned on her journey. Hello. Hi, how are you? Can I help? Please, thank you. You are welcome, each written in glowing, radiant letters that seemed to pulse with. As she turned the pages, Alice could feel the magic of the words, each one a step in her. This book will remind you of everything you've learned here, the word keeper said, his voice soft. And as you continue to grow, so will it will grow with you, just as you continue.